on the bottom rung of the ladder. Just one more step and I'm tranquility. Holy living fuck. Are you fucking believing this? Over. We read you. Over.
I hope the two of you are not concerned about this.
Okay.
Involving the United States government and NASA.
All right.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
The moon landing hoax?
That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it.
You're serious? Okay.
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Because I only have this certain amount of time with you, and I'll talk about whatever you want. You know, this isn't some type of joke or
no, it's not
film
joke.
within a film thing.
Not a joke. Nope.
Okay.
The conspiracy theorists were right on this occasion.
If you're telling the truth, why would you do it? Why are you telling me? I mean, what the?
Don't you think it's important for people to know the truth?
Yeah, yes, certainly.
They had a massive fraud, an unparalleled fraud perpetrated against them. They should know.
Okay.
I mean, they're already suspicious of the government. They may as well have their suspicions confirmed.
Okay.
And justified.
What makes you think what your scientists are writing is any more truer than my sayings?
Because there are volumes of proven data, numbers, figures.
Have you poured through the data yourself? The numbers, the figures?
Well, no. No.
Oh, interesting. So let me get this straight, Mr. Reynolds. You get your information from a book written by men you've never met. And you take their words as truth, based on a willingness to believe, a desire to accept, a leap of, dare I say it, faith?
The edge of the atmosphere, the stars reveal themselves just as they would at night. If you're there in the daytime in the moon, you see a full night sky of stars, even with the sun in the sky as well.
The sky is a deep black when viewed from the moon, as it is when viewed from cislunar space, the space between the Earth and the moon.
This is from Mark Cameron.
Whilst in space, have you ever looked away from Earth into the black void?
Yeah.
All
because
the
you
time.
can see. Yeah.
It seems that nobody's ever on the space shuttle, and the proof of that is the Challenger disaster. In I believe it's 1986, the Challenger exploded just after takeoff and killed 7 astronauts. But it turns out that 6 of the astronauts are still alive, and most of them are using their original names. And you can find pictures of them. They're using the same names, and they're doing ordinary jobs now. Teachers, lecturers, lawyers, whatever. But they're still alive.
This picture, this area was really important to the Apollo 11 mission. Can you tell me, talking about the Apollo 11 mission, can you tell me where this set of craters is on the moon? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You telegraphed it. That wasn't the moon. That was Arizona. This was Arizona being blown up to look like the moon. Okay? You can go on Google Earth right now. Here's the location. Go find it. Here's a picture of Buzz Aldrin in front of a mountain, little hill behind him right there in Arizona. Oh, what do you know? The same mountain formation, and this is Buzz right here, supposedly on the moon.
The astronauts are moving in the moon's gravity, which is 1/6 that of the Earth.
كانوا مبطئين الحركة عشان تبدو إنه لا يوجد جاذبية، لكن تعالوا سرع الشريط مرتين شوف كيف تصير مشيتهم.
Also, when the footage of the lunar rover is doubled in speed, it looks as if it's driving here on Earth.
ثالث لقطة كانت المصيبة، لأنهم مصورين في أريزونا والأرض طبيعي فيها هواء، فمحط العلم رفرف. دقيقة يا أخوي، القمر ما فيه هواء. إذا ما في هواء في القمر كيف تحرك العلم؟
They made it, they filmed it so that it would be entertaining for the masses, yeah? And they're still working with NASA. I absolutely believe that Stanley Kubrick, filmed the moon landing. He left a few clues just to say, so that,
Like Michelangelo.
Yeah, so that we eventually would know that this was his work, yeah? I did this. It's a joke. It was meant to fool people in 1960s. So you got like clear footprints, but yet you don't have an impression where the pads of the lunar lander were, or a blast crater where the engines were blasting downwards. And also, the camera followed the capsule straight up, right? And it followed it very precisely. Right, and it stopped when it started to pitch over. Right now, NASA says, "Oh, we did it remotely." Well, there was a 2 or 3 second delay between sending signals and the camera starting to respond, and then another couple of seconds for them to see what's happened.
It's an official NASA photo of the first Apollo 11 lunar module landing on the moon. I mean, it's right there. This is the proof, man. It's the picture's right there. It's landing on the moon. But the only problem I have with this picture is that it's taken from the moon.
So it's next to impossible to get that sort of accuracy with that kind of, and it's only done once. I mean, they can't sort of keep doing it over and get it right. They do it once and they got it right the first time.
I don't know what the big deal was with being the first guy on the moon. It seems the camera crew was already there. The fucking tripod.
So no, it's either they left an astronaut on the moon to film them, or it was fake. It was fake. It was absolutely fake.
يعني دليل القمر قرب مرة مو بعيد.
People who believe in the globe earth like to say the sun and the moon and all the planets are spheres. You can just tell by looking at them, they're spheres. So what makes you think Earth is flat and not a sphere? This in my hand is a sphere, right? Oops. But it's not. So how the fuck do you know the moon isn't just a half sphere or the sun isn't just a half sphere? How do you know when you're looking at the sun, it isn't that on the other side? You don't!
In 2015, I took pictures of the eclipse of the moon. I set up my 5-inch telescope using a 17mm eyepiece and took these snapshots. You will notice in the pictures stars show through the dark portions of the moon. And as I go through them, I'll blow them up a little larger so you can see these stars. I'll point to one. There's a blue star here, a white star, and as I see these pictures, I see that there's stars shining through like they had predicted.
Is ignoring a lot of the things that we're looking at. So normal people are going out and doing experiments. And one of the experiments has turned up an amazing fact that we've not been told, and it destroys the whole idea of this heliocentric system. And that is the moon. If you get a piece of card, put it on the floor, and sort of you put another piece of card to act as a barrier for the moonlight. So you have the moon above, card on the floor, and a piece of card in front to shield half of the card. Yeah. Now a lot of people have these laser thermometers. Now you can actually measure the temperature of the moonlight next to the temperature of the shade of the moonlight, and you'll find the moonlight is colder than the shade, the opposite from the sun. So the moon is throwing out its own light, and that light is the opposite from the sun. Now that tells you that it's not reflecting the sun's light. Well, the thing about the sun is that we're told it's 93 million miles away. It's not. It's actually something around 3,000 miles away and about 34 miles across. That might sound really crazy, but if you look at look out on a day that's got broken cloud, you'll see that the sun rays will come out at an angle. Most people have seen this. The rays come down in angles. If the sun was 93 million miles away, then all the light will be coming parallel. So if you imagine, there's no way to show 93 million miles, but something way over there, all the light that reaches this globe will be parallel. There's no way that light can come that far and spread out like that. Now if you follow those light rays, you'll see exactly where the sun is. And as I said, it works out to be about 3,100 miles. Now, if that's the case, and the sun is circling over this flat plane, yeah, its light range is limited. So it's illuminating the part of the Earth it's like over at the moment. So, say over Europe, it might, or over South America there. It's over there. Well, Australia's going to be in the dark because the sun isn't going to throw enough light to illuminate Australia. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, most people say, well, I see the sun rise and set. How can that be if it's just going round in a circle? Well, that's perspective again. If you actually see video of the sun coming up and going down, many times you'll see that the sun starts off as it's coming up very, very tiny, and it gets bigger as it gets closer to midday and then gets smaller again. It's literally that effect of perspective, you know, with something's above you, like the ceiling in a hallway, yeah, as it goes further away, it will seem to sink down towards the horizon until it disappears beyond the limit of your sight. And that's all you're seeing. You're seeing literally the sun circling overhead but seeming to set.
وهذا الفيديو بكاميرات وعدسات عالية الجودة يوضح لنا شكل الشمس الحقيقي. تشوفون على الشمس في بقع محددة، هذه البقع مهما صورت الشمس من 20,000 سنة إلى اليوم تجد فيها نفس الشكل، وهذا هو شكل الشمس الحقيقي، أبدا ما فيها انفجارات ولا شيء. تيجي يا خوي تسمع لي من كتاب ناسا، تقول لي هذا العلم، هذا ليس العلم، هذا الكذب الذي أنت لقنته، الذي أنت لم تسعى ولم تبذل المجهود حتى في إثبات حقيقة. جيب تلسكوب انظر في غروب الشمس، ما حندوس عليك شيء، روح بحر زوم وطالع في الشمس وهي تبتعد.
The sailor thinks that he's traveling around the Earth this way, when in effect he's traveling around the Earth this way. And he's creating a circle. He's moving in a continuous direction around. He goes through the various parts of the circle, and he comes back where he started from, so around this way.
Does running around your neighborhood prove that the neighborhood is round?
Say thanks for the smooth flight. Alright. I have one question. Is there like a specific angle of downward tilt you have to fly at?
3 degrees.
3 degrees for the curvature of the Earth?
Oh, for the Earth?
Because, yeah.
No, we just fly over the troposphere.
Really?
Yeah.
But do you have to keep like kind of going down because...
No, we actually have to nose up. It flies like that.
Really? Because I was reading some stuff on the flat Earth that made a lot of sense. Have you looked into it?
Which one? Sorry?
I was reading a lot of stuff on the flat Earth.
Okay, yeah. True.
That's true?
Yeah.
Now people will say, well, you can't be thinking that the Earth is flat because people, they fly around it. They take boats around it. Yeah, we know, like Magellan. And people like NASA love to throw these things right in our face. For instance, this is the NASA-designed Magellan mission patch. Notice anything weird about it? It's a boat that goes in a circle. Do you see that? Is it going around a globe? Or is it making a circle around a flat disc?
Ships sail away. They don't disappear all at once. No, first, the bottom will disappear. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off the table. So people realized that the world is curved. I mean, it's a big curve, but it's curved.
Boats don't disappear over the curvature of the horizon. Boats disappear due to perspective. All you have to do is go to the beach, watch a boat disappear from your eye, and then whip out your telescope, your binoculars, or your high-powered zoom on your camera, and you can pull the entire boat right back into view. Whole mass and all. Yeah, that's right. You think the boat disappeared? Just whip out your telescope, your binoculars, or your zoom camera. You bring the entire boat back into view, completely debunking everything Coy just told you.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
You went up on top of your house and saw the curvature. You went on a plane and saw the curvature. No, you didn't. There is no curvature. Go try and fucking measure it. You have to measure it on water, okay? Try and measure it on a long canal. Try and measure it on sea. Use a laser level. Take a really, really long piece of rope. Do whatever you gotta do to try to measure this supposed curvature and film it. And then post it. And if your curvature's real, well then all us flat earthers will look stupid, huh? So show me your homegrown experiments, because our homegrown experiments, like the Bedford level experiment, they show a flat earth every single time. There is no curvature. You know how I know? I tried to debunk the flat earth and I failed. That's how most of us get started. We try to debunk the flat earth and we fail.
They say that you see the mast, you know, go down last. It's literally just the way your vision works. Yeah, it's perspective and atmospherics basically. The limit of your vision is supposedly 3 miles, and then after 3 miles you're supposed to see the boat start to go over the horizon.
Here's the furthest one I've found so far. This is my record so far. I'm sure it'll keep on growing. This is the Reunion Island from the Isle of Mauritius. It's 149 miles away. It's a long, long, long way away. Once again, we can see the peak, but we can also see most of the West Island. This is quite clearly a very, very good observational day. Very clear, very calm. The highest peak on Reunion Island is 3,072 metres tall. It's just under 2 miles. 149 miles away, everything should be behind 2.8 miles of curvature. Should have curved way, way away. And again, it's not just the tops we can see much more, we can see a lot more.
It's funny that Neil deGrasse Tyson again says that, explains that you can't see the curvature of the Earth from a plane. He says this, you can't see the curvature of the Earth from a plane because you're not high enough. The Earth is so big that you can't get high enough to see the curvature. Yet, you can apparently see a boat go over the curvature, over the distance of 3 miles, which doesn't make sense.
يقول لك إذا الأرض مسطحة في حافة هنا، يا خوي ما في حافة، الأرض مسطحة ممتدة، يعني قاراتنا وبحارنا موجودة هنا، حولنا حافة جليدية كبيرة جدا.
Nothing flies over the South Pole, because again on a flat map, the South Pole, the continent of Antarctica, is the ring around the Earth. So you know you can't fly over the ring and get anywhere. That's why we're not allowed to go there.
واللي يقول لك في حافة للعالم هذا كذاب، ما في أي حافة، ولم يثبت أحد إنه أصلا في حافة. والسماوات والأرض كبيرة جدا، وبالدليل ذلك أن الله سبحانه وتعالى قال جنة عرضها السماوات والأرض. فعلا الأرض عريضة والسماء عريضة.
I mean, think about it. It's the only treaty that's you know all these countries have signed and never broken and completely agreed on. It's the only one. And you know what treaty is there that everybody's agreed on? We're being kept away from it for a reason. You know, they have some scientific bases there, yeah, and literally it's controlled by the military. If you try and go there by yourself, you will be sort of picked up and escorted back. There was a guy called Jarls Anderhoy who tried to take a mission to the Antarctica, and he was picked up and taken back by the military. It's a good reason because they don't want you finding out what's beyond. Admiral Byrd he actually did four expeditions, and most of them were military expeditions with huge military groups. You know, thousands of people, you know, planes, boats, the works. And yes, he confirms in an interview that he discovered a continent as big as the continental United States out there. That was with warm water lakes and mountains and everything. That was completely uninhabited. And he described it as the other side of the South Pole to Middle America. So on the globe, that means it would be somewhere in the Indian Ocean. There's a huge continent that nobody knows about. So yeah, there's more going on than meets the eye. The other thing is, after Admiral Byrd came back after his last expedition, Antarctica was sealed off.
مثل رحلة كابتن كوك وجيمس كلارك روس الذين أرادوا الدوران على الأنتاركتيكا، والتي هي تبلغ حسب الخرائط الحديثة وجوجل إيرث والمواقع الرسمية 12,000 ميل، والرحلة ستستغرق مدة زمنية قصيرة. لكن الغريب هو ما تم تدوينه في رحلتهم التي استغرقت 3 سنوات على ما أعتقد، أو 4 سنوات، وبطول ما بين 50,000 أو 60,000 ميل. وفي الحقيقة هذا مشكل جد مقلق، لأن هذا ستجدونه في عدة أمثلة بين سواحل الجزر والدول. كما ترون أمامكم هذه شيكاغو، وهذا مسار الرحلة حتى قطر. إذا كان هناك وقوف اضطراري يجب أن يكون على الأقل حسب الكرة فوق إسبانيا أو جنوب فرنسا، ولكن إسبانيا هي الأقرب كما ترون أمامكم في هذا النموذج. لكن لماذا قاموا بالوقوف في مطار موسكو بروسيا؟ وهذا جد بعيد وليس له أي معنى على الأرض الكروية. لكن في الأرض المسطحة إذا رأيتم كما أريكم هنا، المسيرة سوف تنطلق من هنا من شيكاغو، والرحلة تنطلق وتمر على هذا الخط. ما محل موسكو في الإعراب هنا؟ لماذا نزلوا في موسكو اضطراريا؟ وموسكو تقع بعيدة جدا. هذا لن تجدوا له أي تفسير ولا أي معنى إلا في خريطة الأرض المسطحة.
How do you brainwash? Well, you repeat it. You repeat the same thing over and over again. You know if somebody's resisting the concept? If you keep fucking repeating it, after 6 times, they'll incorporate it in their brain. They may not agree with it, but repeat it another 1,000 times, they'll start saying it.
This technical difficulty was planned, and think I'm scamming you, go do it for yourself. Because you're going to find the exact same thing. I got nothing to hide here. This is live on the air, okay? I'm going to zoom in on the Earth in Photoshop. You see the Earth? To image, adjust, levels, and I'm going to move the levels over here, and I'm going to bring the levels up. Uh-oh, what is that? Why is there a square box around the Earth allegedly taken from the scientists on the moon in Apollo 17? And people wonder why I don't trust NASA. That's why I don't trust NASA. I mean, they're always out there saying, you know, Rob, everybody's trying to show you stuff from space and you keep rejecting it. This is why I reject it. These guys are liars.
But your brain has three-dimensionalized, oh yeah, that's the Earth. How? Through repetition. Next image. How do we get to this point of the image? This is fucking funny.
I don't know. You're going to have to, here's my question here. How can you justify the difference in North America between 2 different pictures from space from NASA? Earth the exact same size. Look at the size of North America here. Freaking humongous. And yeah, we all know most Americans need to go on a diet, but I didn't know the continent did. I'm going to make this, you see what's happening here? I'm shifting to something that's right under it. See how they're the same size? Oh, now let me take the top one and drag it off so you can see. Look at North America now. It's tiny. It's tiny now. Look at that. You can fit that almost twice into this. Look how tiny Florida is compared to gigantic Florida here. North America takes up about, let's cut the disc in half. It takes it maybe 25% of the top half of the disc. Let's cut it in half here. It takes up like 70% of the top half. In fact, let me actually go ahead and do that. Does that make it more clear for you people that have serious cognitive dissonance? Look at this one here. Almost the entire quarter of the disc. Not North America. A little teeny piece in the northeast part. Look at how much water is here. almost a third, actually over a third, almost half of the remaining quadrant is water. You think this is the exact same Earth. Now how can you justify that? That's a question right there. How can you justify that?
هذا هو الشكل الأشهر والأكثر استخداما بين الخرائط، وهو ما يعرف بإسقاط ميركاتور نسبة إلى الشخص الذي قام بوضعه. إذا كنت تعتقد أن هذه الخارطة تم تصويرها من الفضاء بكاميرا صناعي أو ما شابه ذلك فأنت مخطئ، لأن هذا الإسقاط تم وضعه في العام 1596. المثال الأول هو جزيرة غرينلاند التابعة لدولة الدنمارك. نرى في هذه الخارطة أن هذه الجزيرة هائلة الحجم، فلو وضعناها إلى جانب قارة إفريقيا سنرى أنها تقاربها في الحجم إلى حد ما. لكن هل تعلم أن في الحقيقة هذه الجزيرة هي أصغر من دولة الجزائر وحدها؟ فلو بحثنا عن مساحة هذه الدول في أي مرجع تريدوه ستجدون أن مساحة جزيرة غرينلاند تقريبا 2.1 مليون كيلومتر مربع، ومساحة قارة إفريقيا تقريبا 30 مليون كيلومتر مربع، أي أكبر من جزيرة غرينلاند ب15 مرة، بينما مساحة دولة الجزائر تبلغ 2.3 مليون كيلومتر مربع. فلو أخذنا جميع هذه الأرقام بعين الاعتبار يجب أن تكون جزيرة غرينلاند بهذا الحجم. مثال آخر هو دولة روسيا. هذه الدولة ذات المساحة العظيمة التي تمتد على جزء كبير من الخارطة. بناء على المساحة المرسومة على الخارطة يمكننا وضع كامل قارة إفريقيا داخل دولة روسيا. ليس هذا فحسب، كما ويمكننا أيضا وضع قارة أمريكا الجنوبية، ومع هذا سيتبقى جزء كبير من روسيا لم يغطى. لكن إذا بحثنا عن مساحة دولة روسيا الحقيقية سنجدها عبارة عن 17.1 مليون كيلومتر مربع، أي تقريبا نصف مساحة قارة إفريقيا، تقريبا بهذا الشكل. مثال آخر هو دولة السويد التي تبدو كبيرة على الخارطة، فلو وضعناها إلى جانب جزيرة مدغشقر سنجد أنها تقريبا تعادلها مرتين في المساحة، لكن في الحقيقة مساحة مدغشقر أكبر من مساحة دولة السويد. تقريبا ستبدو بهذا الشكل عندما نراعي المساحات الحقيقية. مثال آخر هي دولة كندا التي تمتد أيضا على جزء كبير من الخارطة، والتي يمكننا أيضا وضع قارة إفريقيا بالكامل داخلها، لكن مساحة كندا الحقيقية هي ثلث مساحة قارة إفريقيا، لتبدو تقريبا بهذا الشكل عند رسمها الدقيق. الأمثلة على هذه الأخطاء المقصودة لن تنتهي، فتقريبا كل دول العالم الأول كما يطلقون على أنفسهم غير ممثلة بالمساحات الحقيقية على هذه الخارطة.
There are no images of Earth from space. The only one that NASA actually claims is a photograph. It was from 1972, and it's the famous picture. It's got Africa sort of near the top. And it's the same picture they've been using for the last 40 or 50 years in every textbook. Every other image is what they call a composite. It's Photoshop.
Thousands of satellites supposedly orbiting the Earth. Why can't we get thousands of pictures? One shot with the whole Earth in it. Hell, we should have a channel on cable that shows the Earth rotating 24 hours a day, every day. Nope. Let's listen to NASA's very own Robert Simmons talk about how we get our fake pictures of Earth.
Last week, scientists at NASA released this. The shot is compiled from data from NASA's VEERS instrument, which orbits the Earth about every 100 minutes, taking measurements of light coming off the planet. That can be translated into ribbons of imagery like this, and then into one of these. And this is just the latest in NASA's Earth from Space album. Then in 2002, Blue Marble 2.0, NASA's Rob Simmons made this. Simmons' job is...
It's primarily taking data and making pictures out of it.
That's what this is, a composite of data sets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
So we actually had to take clouds out.
They stashed the clouds for later, went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton in the sea.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it's a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
There's a small problem with it because there's a very slight gap in between each orbit.
So some of those are painted on.
It is photoshopped.
Not having one authentic picture of the Earth alone is a huge red flag.
whole model like 400 or 500 years before the airplane. 400 years before the airplane, pretty much. So like beginning of the 1900s. They went to the North Pole in the 1900s. This is 1482.
I think. Again, when you zoom into it with Photoshop, you'll see where they've used the clone tool in Photoshop to take a picture of one of the clouds and stamp it in various places around the picture. They got lazy. In another image, they've even photoshopped the word sex in the clouds, which is a subliminal tool they use to get people to sort of relate to something. They literally, you can look at this and you can find it on NASA's website. In a video I'm working on at the moment, I've got a video from what they call the Galileo space probe. As it left Earth, it took a series of shots of Earth apparently, and you see that over the course of 25 hours, the clouds never move. Okay. Now I happened to find some pictures of satellite pictures of Earth, and I noticed that in these separately taken satellite shots, the clouds were exactly the same as the ones in this Galileo shot. So it's a cloud map. It would be very simple indeed to just silence everybody and put an end to this topic once and for all, turn the Hubble round and show us Earth in real time, zooming in onto a place so that we can see what's happening at that place, and we know that there is something up there looking down on us from space. But they will not do it. They can't do it. It can't. It doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist.
For people looking for curvature is the Felix Baumgartner Red Bull jump from 2012. People really believe that they are seeing a genuine curve here, but it's simply a fisheye lens. Otherwise, New Mexico takes up most of the planet. Wake up, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, all action cameras come standard with these lenses. The definition of a fisheye lens is an ultra-wide-angle lens that produces strong visual distortion to create a wide, panoramic, or hemispherical image.
When this lens is arranged sort of straight onto the horizon, it actually it doesn't have any weird curvature or distortion. It just looks ultra wide. There might be a little bit of distortion on the edges, but it looks just super wide.
Well, you saw from his balloon when he stepped out on the platform, the curvature of the Earth. Yeah, it looked very obvious. Oh, everybody pointed it and said, "Oh, look, there's a curvature." But when you actually looked at the ground, when you looked at the Earth, well, it was New Mexico. That's where he jumped. The whole Earth that you saw there was New Mexico. So if that was a curvature, the Earth must be very, very small indeed, and New Mexico must take up a huge part of it. Yeah, it was a fisheye lens to curve that, to make that curve.
Here's a video from a balloon that was launched by a high school in South Carolina. Doesn't that seem like a bit much to you? Because at 120,000 plus feet, there is no curvature when you use a normal lens that's not distorted whatsoever.
العلم الحقيقي، والمقصود بالعلم اللي أنا أقوله هو التجارب العلمية، الشيء اللي تقول فك كاميرتك وشوف، فك تلسكوبك وشوف. ما هو العلم اللي احفظ هذا هذا التعريف، هذا مو علم، هذا اسمه بلاهة زايدة. أنا ماني محتاج أحفظ تعاريفك، هي غلط.
This is amazing because when I first started looking, it was about a year and a half ago, I looked on YouTube and there were maybe about 100 videos, not even that probably, and nobody was talking about it, right? And then over 2015, it exploded. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people looking at Flat Earth now. And what happens is that you'll watch something or read something and something will strike a chord in your mind and you'll think, yeah, I've always wondered that. And what will happen is you will start feverishly researching. I mean, what happened to me was as soon as I got that, I spent every waking hour looking for things and testing things, and this seems to be replicated with thousands of people around the world who suddenly come into this. They start, researching and getting a passion for this, because this is what I think, it's the truth, and we recognise the truth when we hear it.